Okay. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec. Notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act and recent regulations issued by the state of New Jersey, the following procedures will be in effect for public comment during this remote public meeting of the City Council. The public shall have an opportunity for comment during the designated public portion of this meeting. The time period for public comment is limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, and no person may address the council more than once except for speaking during an advertised public hearing for an ordinance. At the time designated for public comment, the mayor or other presiding officer of the council will recognize one speaker at a time. That speaker must identify himself or herself by full name and whether or not he or she resides in Hackensack. No other member of the public is permitted to speak unless recognized by the presiding officer, and other remote attendees may be muted during that time if necessary to eliminate background noise. Meeting attendees shall exhibit appropriate demeanor during this meeting as required by Section 37-15 of the City Code. In the event any member of the public becomes disruptive at any time, that individual may be muted by the presiding officer and will receive a warning that continued disruption may result in being prevented from speaking or removed from the meeting entirely. The Zoom meeting platform has a texting function. However, this is to be used only for the purpose of advising the city's IT staff of any technical concerns or issues. The public may also submit written public comments to be audibly read into the record by the city clerk during the public portion of any remote public meeting of the City Council. Comments can be submitted by regular mail or by email to asaby@hackensack.org. Comments received less than 5 hours before the start of a meeting may be carried to the next meeting. Any person who actually speaks during the public comment portion of a remote public meeting may not also have a comment read into the record. The city clerk will stop reading a written comment into the public record once it reaches the 3-minute limit. Duplicate written comments may be summarized and noted for the record in a consistent manner.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Here.
Councilmember Taglia.
Here.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I have 2 proclamations tonight. And the first one is National Poison Prevention Week, March 21st through the 27th. And the proclamation reads as this: whereas Congress designated the 3rd week in March to be National Poison Prevention Week, NPPW, in 1961 to help raise awareness of the dangers of poisonous medicines, household chemicals, and other substances. And whereas poison centers will focus the public's attention on identifying poisoning hazards and prevention as all people and even pets are at risk. And whereas most of all reported poison exposures involve children 5 years old and younger, the majority of poisoning deaths occur in adults aged 20 to 59. And whereas the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System, NJPIES, provides free expert medical advice, drug information, and poison prevention education to New Jersey residents through the 800-222-1222 Poison Help Hotline. Text 973-339-0702 or chat at www.njpies.org. And whereas we encourage all residents to program the hotline number into their phones because a rapid response can make a difference in preventing serious injury and saving lives. Now, therefore, I, John P. LaBrosse Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of March 21st through 27th as National Poison Prevention Week in the City of Hackensack. And if anybody needs those numbers who couldn't get them, feel free to call the clerk's office. She'll have them on record there for the .org number and the text number and the hotline. So thank you for that. And the second one is for Women's History Month. Whereas during Women's History Month, we celebrate the countless women whose courage and resolve have contributed to the character and success of our nation and the entire world. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role by providing a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women have been leaders, not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but in upholding movements such as civil rights, emancipation, abolition, and labor unions for liberty, freedom, and justice for all. And whereas women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions to promote the welfare of others and by providing the majority of the volunteers. And whereas women continue to strengthen and enrich our society by helping children to recognize the value of learning, as well as the importance of self-respect, personal responsibility, and respect and concern for others. Now, therefore, I, John P. LaBrosse Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby recognize March as Women's History Month. So thank you to all your ladies out there. Kudos to you. And with that, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 9th, 2021 Executive, COW, and regular meeting.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Aye. I need a motion to approve the minutes of February 16th, 2021 special meeting.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Aye. Thank you for that. And with that, we go right to the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and Council, and invited guests. This is the city manager's report for March 9th, 2021. City offices are now open to the public by appointment only. Please refer to your hackensack.org or our department's phone directory for assistance and to make an appointment. 2, reminder, our community garden at Johnson Park began registrations for new gardeners on March 1st. Please call the rec department for assistance. 3, the city is proud to announce that we have started our vaccine clinic. If you are an eligible resident, details to schedule your vaccine appointment are available at hackensack.org. And finally, number 4, the install successfully of the blinking light on Prospect near Thompson has been completed, and I have more work to do, but at least that's done and is serving and protecting our residents and invited guests. And that would complete the city manager's report.
Okay, thank you. So we go to new business. Resolution 94-21.
Okay, this is a resolution for the adoption of ordinance number 10-2021, an ordinance to amend chapter 170 of the code of the city of Hackensack parking to update regulations governing the parking of commercial vehicles in certain areas. This ordinance has been advertised pursuant to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Anybody from the public who'd like to speak to this ordinance, in this ordinance only, please come forward. Hearing no one from the public, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Aye. Need a motion to adopt the ordinance, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrosse.
Aye.
Be it resolved by City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey that ordinance number 10-2021 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 95-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 9-2021, An ordinance to amend Chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Vehicles and Traffic to remove a handicap parking space from Section 49.2, parking for the handicapped on lookout.
Okay, need a motion to introduce, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 9-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 96-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 11-2021, a bond ordinance providing for various 2021 capital improvements by and in the city of Hackensack and the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, appropriating $2,590,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,466,000 in bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Need a motion to introduce, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 11-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 97-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 12-2021, an ordinance adopting 463 Main Street redevelopment plan consisting of block 411, lots 16 and 18.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 12-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Resolution 98-21.
This is a resolution designating 307 Main MF-Q Urban Renewal LLC as redeveloper of block 407.01, lots 5, 6.01, 6.02, 7, 34, 36.01, 36.02, and 37, and authorizing entry into redevelopment agreement.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Resolution 99-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 13-2021, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement for market rate rental apartment and retail project to be constructed upon block 407.01, lots 5, 6.01, 6.02, 7, 34, 36.01, 36.02, and 37 by 307 Main MF-Q Urban Renewal LLC an urban renewal entity pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec.
Need a motion to introduce, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 13-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 100-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 14-2021, an ordinance to amend chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Vehicles and Traffic to modify the streets listed in section 56 one-way streets.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 14-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and the said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 101-21.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 15-2021, an ordinance to vacate Caruso Street in the city of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and state of New Jersey.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 15-2021 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 23rd, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law, with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 102-21.
This is a resolution of the City of Hackensack and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, determining the form and other details of its note relating to the Water Bank Construction Financing Program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank to be issued in the principal amount of up to $14,630,000, and providing for the issuance and sale of such note to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and authorizing the execution and delivery of such note by the City of Hackensack in favor of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, all pursuant to the Water Bank Construction Financing Program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 103-21.
The resolution authorizing tax refunds for county board judgments and duplicate payments.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 104-21.
Resolution authorizing tax appeal attorney to settle the cases on the attached list dated March 3rd, 2021 that were scheduled for trial or settlement.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus. Mayor,
Aye. Resolution 105-21.
this is a resolution authorizing change order number 2 to New Prince Concrete Construction for Main Street Streetscape Project.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 106-21.
Resolution authorizing change order number 2 to HBC Company, Inc. for Main Street traffic signal improvements.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 107-21.
It's a resolution to anticipate miscellaneous revenues in the 2021 budget using the 3-year average of realized revenues from the 3 prior years.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 108-21.
Resolution authorizing calendar year 2021 budget to be read by title only.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 109-21.
Resolution to reduce the 2020 tax levy by tax appeal judgment.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 109-21.
Now we're up to 110.
Sorry, 110-21.
It's a resolution for the governing body certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 111-21.
It's a resolution authorizing payment of bills.
Need a motion to pay the bills, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, before we go into the consent agenda, does anybody have any conflicts? There's only 4 on there tonight. Hearing none, please continue with the consent agenda.
Following items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda, and consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes, including any exceptions and or additions. Consent agenda consists of resolution 112-21, which is a resolution authorizing board and commission appointments, resolution 113-21, a resolution authorizing endorsement of proposed Bergen County community development grants, resolution 114-21 is a resolution authorizing release of escrow funds for 100 Prospect Avenue, and resolution number 115-21, a resolution authorizing release of escrow funds for 80 Commerce Way.
Okay, I need a motion. Motion to adopt the consent agenda as it was just read.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, with that, need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody from the public who would like to speak, now would be your time. Unmute your device. Please give your name to the clerk. You will have 3 minutes.
Martin Smith, Prospect Avenue, a member of the Condo Co-op Advisory Board. I'd like to revisit 3 items that go back a couple of years for the council's review. First one concerns the intersection of Central Avenue and 2nd Street, where there are a number of traffic safety devices. That's where the Mount Olive Church is located. Whereas on Summit Avenue and Golf Place, there is one designated crosswalk and no other safety devices. When this was brought to the council's attention about 2 months ago, Mr. Ehrenberg said, seeing that they are both county streets, we would have to check with county. So my question is, has anybody from the administration contacted county to find out why this disparity exists and what information we have gotten on those questions? And if the city has not contacted county, why hasn't county been contacted? Item 2 relates to the intersection of Prospect Avenue and Passaic Street. We recommended over a year ago that the interior lane of northbound traffic be turned into a designated left turn lane, with the right lane being for straight through traffic or right turns. This would eliminate the merge point on the north side of Passaic Street. What is the status of that? And the third item that we'd like answers to is what we have recommended as far as speed limits in the city of Hackensack are concerned. We're recommending that speed limits be lowered to 30 miles an hour with special speed zones for hospital in Hackensack, for school zones, and for zones containing houses of worship, plus Main Street, which we expect to find crowded with new residents once our urbanization program is completed.
Okay, Mr. Smith, I'm going to defer you to Ted Ehrenberg, our city manager.
Okay. Mr. Smith, let me take them a little out of order. Prospect Street left turn for traffic purposes. Our traffic bureaus looked at that. There's not enough width there to accomplish that. And if they were going to do that, they would have to remove all the parking down that lane for that to be accomplished. And there is significant parking needs there, and our traffic bureau has declined that. I've been in conversation with Bergen County on multiple issues. Quite candidly, there's a few that are taking more precedent than the Central and 2nd Street, I don't want to use the word cone, but advisories that remain in the street. But I will follow up with Pete Basalis from there. And lastly, the speed limits to be lowered is an issue that will take some period of time. And quite candidly, because of our other conditions, especially at the top of the list, COVID-19, manpower and the ability to muster up people, because it seems like almost daily I have to put people out that are in isolation because they have not returned, because not everybody has received their shot.
Okay.
I have not forgotten you. I certainly have these on my pad that I write, and then I write a new pad, and then I update it. But if you've listened tonight, there was money expended for some of your crosswalks that you were so interested in. I don't know if you knew that or heard that, but I thought that might have made you at least hopeful that the city is moving in the right direction. but that's up for you to decide.
I'm always hopeful, Mr. Ehrenberg. However, as far as the intersection of Prospect and Passaic, there is currently room for 2 lanes of traffic. And we do have that merge point, which indicates that there are 2 northbound lanes. And this should be really addressed more seriously to avoid merging accidents occurring north of Passaic Street at that merge point.
Currently, apparently, you're 180 degrees opposite of what the Hackensack Traffic Bureau feels, because right this minute, there is no forward movement of removing parking at that intersection for people to make the turn lane, but we could certainly revisit it.
Yeah, well, there are no vehicles have to be moved parking. They're all handicap spaces in front of that last building on the corner of Passaic and Prospect. And we've had this situation going on for years with the merge point. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next person from the public, please.
Hello?
Debbie, please watch. Just make sure we're watching the clock.
I have the time. That was what that little noise was.
Thanks.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. First, I want to ask that I not get muted. I wasn't disruptive last time, and I got muted after the person before me went 10 minutes back and forth uncensored. Regina DePasqua. I'm a Hackensack resident, but this may be the last time I'm saying that because Mama Leone left a note on the door, and we're moving out.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry?
Congratulations.
Yeah, we bought a house in the country. Over the years, I've had a knack for asking questions that bring out interesting council actions and important issues. One was privatizing sanitation. Another was when I asked about the hospital deal that gave away our free ambulance. On October 30th, 2018, I asked about the hiring of an attorney at $500 an hour. And I said at that time, he better not be representing the mayor individually. Well, the judge dismissed the claims in federal venue, and that matter is now in state court against defendants individually. Yet that attorney at $500 an hour is still churning out billing after the federal case was terminated. The billing is to the tune of $102,000, and discovery has not even begun yet, and depositions can be very expensive. Is the city attorney monitoring this matter and this billing? Further, the state complaint was filed in May 2020. Among the defendants is the mayor individually. The city code 14A-4A specifically prohibits the defense and indemnification if the underlying action is not within the scope of employment or authority. Now, this is similar to the issue I raised about the city attorney's intervention in the Sims matter. Not a city issue. Yet the city, through Bergen Risk, is being billed for Mr. LaBross's defense as an individual in this matter. Again, $102,000 since the federal matter was dismissed. Further, in a May 18, 2018 Hackensack Chronicle article, Mr. Kleinman is quoted as saying, the matter appears to involve a dispute between people in their individual capacities. In a rare instance, I agree with Mr. Kleinman, and the courts do also. It is now a civil matter in state court between individuals. So why is the city still being billed by the $500 an hour attorney? Again, is the city attorney monitoring this case and the billing?
Could I respond, Mayor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
The answer is, are you finished, Mr. Pasqua? Do you have any further comments, or is that it?
Well, the only other comment I do have is not related. I'm happy they finally are putting the crosswalks in at Prospect and Golf, but I'm not so sure about American Legion, the way the road rises. But I won't be here to deal with that.
Okay, so
I'm done.
I'll respond to all of that. I mean, first of all, yes, the city attorney's office monitors all litigation. Number two, the city attorney's office in conjunction with Bergen Risk, makes appropriate determinations about what coverage is available under what circumstances. We are absolutely confident that the representation here is being handled in accordance with the city code and appropriately. And quite frankly, you know, the mayor's the one that got sued here. I will point out this case was filed in federal court. These attorneys successfully got that case kicked out of federal court. The plaintiff in that case, for whatever reason, chose to file in another forum. And we have determined that the mayor is more than appropriately entitled to a legal defense in that matter. So, you know, that's I'm not going to get into detailed legal analysis because I don't think that's appropriate to do. But rest assured, all of these issues are always monitored, as is every single piece of litigation involving the city and representation issues for employees and who get sued during the course of a matter. So again, that's really all I can say to it. But your analysis is wrong.
Well, that's a 180 from what you were quoted as saying in the newspaper. It's an individual matter.
Ma'am, I think your time is up. You've had your chance to speak. You've heard my response.
Thank you, Mr. DePasqua, for your comments. Next person from the public, please. Give your name to the
Richard
clerk.
Salkin, Hackensack, New Jersey. You don't run the meeting, Stephen. You really don't. The mayor does. You don't tell people to stop talking.
That's why I gave her offer 3 minutes. I gave her 3 minutes to speak.
You don't give anybody 3 minutes. You're not the mayor, Stephen. You're not the mayor. You're not the presiding officer.
Gentlemen, we're not going to go back and forth. Mr. Salkin, please use your 3 minutes. Not to go back.
I wasn't even planning on speaking, and I'm not going to get into my case. But, you know, him saying, well, we're rest assured, we've reviewed it and we're right. You know, you're not right. And you know what I'm really concerned about is however this case turns out, and I have a pretty strong feeling that I know how it's going to turn out. I'm not going to put myself in a position where somebody can claw back because you've exposed him. You know, someone has said to me, and I'll just repeat it, it wasn't me. The worst thing they did was get you kicked out of federal court, John, because you're going to be on your own in this thing. That's all I got to say. And you know what, Stephen? Back off. You are not the sergeant at arms. You are not the mayor. You do not preside. Learn that.
Next person from the public, please. Hearing none, motion to close to the public.
John, Pete Marcassani.
Hey, Peter, how are you?
Good. A lot has happened with the development that's going on in Hackensack. It's amazing. You turn around and all of a sudden there's a structure on the record property, Lot D. I was surprised to see Lot D because I know you just changed developers, and it's quite an impressive structure that's going up all over the place. There are ongoing issues with affordable housing that people have spoken about, the gentrification of the city, which will always be ongoing concerns, I think, going forward. But the one thing I get asked, especially with the election coming up, a lot of my friends want to know with the pilots. And we've spoken about this a number of times. Kathy has gone to great lengths explaining the value of the pilots to the city and luring the developers to come in here in the first place. Some of the questions that I'm not able to answer, though, and has to do, I guess, with where does the county and where does the Board of Education get their revenue? Are there tax structures impacted by the pilots? I know a while ago, John, you had said that we'll take care of the schools, as if to say when the money comes in, we'll make sure we do something for the schools. But is that just a promise, or is that something that's codified in terms of how the structure is set up when the assessments are assigned for the school taxes and for the county taxes? I was anxious to see if we could shed some light on that.
I can answer to that. The original intention of the rehabilitation plan was to rebuild the downtown. We always said from the beginning, if there was an excessive amount of children, which we didn't anticipate, we certainly would contribute to the schools for that. But should there be not an abundance of children, we're still going to work with the schools. As a matter of fact, Deputy Mayor Canestrino was, in meetings with Stephanie, with the Board of Ed every month, and they're, and I can let her speak to that because she can speak to it better than I can, either her or Stephanie. But there has been discussions on doing stuff for the school as far as possibly getting them out of the Padre Pio school, doing something else with the city would help to build a a pre-K type situation and stuff like that. But I'll let Deputy Mayor speak to that.
Hey, Pete. Actually, with the pilot, the county still gets their percentage. So the county gets 5% of the pilot money as well. As far as the school goes, and, I know you say I explain this over and over, but I'll try and be quick. When you write your taxes, you write one check, right? So, whatever money is coming into the city, the school submits to the town what they need. So the school submits to the town, here's the levy that we need for you to give to us. And they get what they need. So it's not like they're getting anything less, they're getting what they need. And when you pay your bill, perhaps your bill, the monies that are coming directly to the pilot are offsetting some of the city's expenses, but it's not hurting the school in any way. The school submits their budget, the school submits what they need from taxpayers, and that's what they receive. So it's not, we got to get away from this principle that the schools are being hurt by this, because they're not. And the second part is, yes, as the mayor said, both Steph and I meet with the Board of Ed monthly. And as promised, once we start to see a return on our investment, which we're starting to see, some of the pilots are starting to kick in, and mainly, to the arrangement that the host community agreement that was made with the hospital was that, yes, we want to do some joint projects together with the schools. So, during our meetings, we actually are working towards two projects. One, a short-term project that could be accomplished rather quickly. And, we went to the schools and, we want them to tell us what they want, Pete. We don't want to dictate to them. So, they've come up with a couple ideas, and actually our CFO has been working with their business manager and are making great progress. So as soon as they're ready to announce what the short-term project is, we'll be happy to do so. And then a longer-term project is, as the mayor said, is, how do they get out of Padre Pio? And we're in the process with them assisting in that endeavor as well. That we see, as a part, these things don't happen overnight. So, they have a commitment to Padre Pio. We want to make sure when that commitment's over, they're ready to move out of that arrangement if it meets their financial needs. So we are definitely working towards helping them in that initiative as well. And, and that's what makes the city great. I mean, the city council and the Board of Ed shouldn't be enemies. We should be working together, and we are. All right. And we should be working on joint projects, and we are. We should be doing shared services, and we are. So to me, these are great major accomplishments that have happened, albeit slower than I would have liked, but they are happening and have been happening for the last number of years.
Well, I have every confidence in the council, I think, in the work that's being done. It just makes it a little bit easier to now explain to my neighbors that the schools are well provided for. One last question was, am I correct in understanding that when we vote on the school budget, that if the budget is approved, that it's incumbent upon the city to raise the money to transfer those funds?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right.
Thanks,
John,
guys.
Before we go to the next person, I just saw a comment why I don't have my video on. I had a medical procedure done, and unfortunately, I don't think I'm up for viewing, but I feel pretty well and did not want to miss the meeting. Hopefully by the next meeting, I'll look a lot better. But right now, I'm not at my best.
You look marvelous, darling.
Okay, next person from the public, please.
Yes, this is Victor Geddes, Hackensack. I have a question. So, Kathy, you say you and Stephanie is meeting with the Board of Ed. Who else is meeting with the Board of Ed from the City Council? Or have there been more than just you and Stephanie?
Never more than just Stephanie and I. Never more than two of us. The city manager. You asked my question. The city manager participates. Sometimes the CFO participates if they're needed. But we never have more than two council members at those meetings. And the board does the same. They can have more because there's more of them. But they also make sure that they never have a quorum that's present as well.
So at no time has it been more than just two of you guys?
That's correct.
Never.
That's correct.
Okay, I just want that on the record.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next person from the public, please.
Good evening. My name is Robin Coles, and I'm a resident of the city of Hackensack. Just two observations. Number one, I was on the school board for 7 years, and so I would like to say that it's a good thing that if the city council is beginning to work with the schools, because it is untrue that that has always been the case. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just general housekeeping. I come to the meetings occasionally, and I'm a part of this city like many of us are. And I think it's unfortunate that we use our seats. We don't talk very nice to people on coming from, you sit in a seat of authority or position already. And I'm just observing that I think that we need to be kinder. We can agree to disagree, but I think it's quite disrespectful the way some of the presentations are. And I think that's just cease and desist so that we can work together as a community and get the job done. Thank you very much for hearing me this evening. Good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Coles. Next person from the public, please. Hearing none, motion.
This is Bridget Rucker speaking. I will speak about the downtown area. As you guys are redeveloping the downtown area, as I'm quite sure you have seen the newspaper articles, not in one article has Hackensack been mentioned as far as somewhere to come and live. Not one article. People are not moving here to Hackensack. You've taken our city, you've turned it into an urban city in order to be able to obtain pilots. So urban means you have turned it into Newark, Patterson, Jersey City. And this is not what it was 42 years ago when I moved here. So my thing here is downtown is developing, but people are not coming. If you had put affordable housing into your agreements, that would have been your backup plan to get people into buildings. Most of those buildings need to be at least 75% full in order for them to start the tax paying on taxes. So at this point, all 17, I believe, buildings that are going up, if these buildings don't get full to capacity, the taxes will fall back on the homeowners and the stakeholders who have been here since Hackensack's conception. So my thing here is, what do you guys plan on doing? Because you can't even get businesses here. You don't have liquor license to be able to have the Main Street Alliance market to corporations to actually build here or come here. So I want to know, what is going to be this city council's plan for this redevelopment downtown? I don't think you guys even thought about that. I think what you guys did 5 or 7 years ago is you saw an opportunity, you leaped onto this opportunity, but you tried to think that you can actually predict the future. You can't. Just like you couldn't predict COVID to happen. We couldn't, but it's here. So my thing is, what is going to be the resolution behind this redevelopment program? Because this downtown area is nothing but a bunch of buildings. After, like Kathy said, she's explained it to me over and over again, but I would say after 5 good pilot programs, that should have been enough. Affordable housing should have been your backup, and you wouldn't have to take yourself to court. You stopped our court date on March the 3rd for the compliance, and that was all due to your election because you knew people were going to be on that court date to speak truth to power. So I'm just trying to figure out what is going to happen now. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
You too. I'm going to answer that first, if you don't mind, Kat, because I know
right ahead,
thing. But I have to, question your line that people aren't moving.
Talking to you. So first of all, you're not the mayor. You don't preside here. Back down.
Oh, Rick, mute yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome. So going back to what I was saying, you mentioned 18 buildings. Of the 18 buildings that are being built, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 possibly are open for rent. Okay, so that means 14 are not completed. So I don't know how you think people are going to move into buildings that aren't completed yet, because that just wouldn't work. Of the buildings that are complete, They are renting very fast. They were all ahead of schedule, and they will continue to be ahead of schedule. As far as having a backup plan, there's a lot of work and investigations done on real estate and how many apartments are needed in North Jersey based on market value and everything else. There's a lot of work, a lot of detail put into this by a lot of different people. You certainly don't think people are going to build all these buildings just so they can rent them out 50% or 75% and lose money. And if that was the case, why are they still coming? With that, I will defer to Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
You did a great job of explaining it, John. I'll just add one thing. For your knowledge, Bridget, the piloted programs, they can never pay less than what the original taxes were on that property. So, even if some disaster happened, as you said, and their pilot revenue was not substantial, they would still have to pay at a minimum what the taxes were when they started the program. So it would revert back to that. So that kind of is a little bit, we're not going to fall back to them paying nothing, as I think you were referring to. What I'm seeing is, I think 240 Main, 100 State. They're like in the over 95 or above % fully rented. And Hakeem, the one on 18 East Camden, he was ahead of, as John mentioned, he was ahead of schedule for the planned leasing. So that people are coming and moving into these apartments. And, our plan is that we will continue to support that, and that as the downtown grows, there will be retail and things for all of us to enjoy. People will want to come here because there will be an environment here that will be substantial. And we will still have our residential communities, and we'll be able to enjoy it as well. So I believe that it's a win-win for all. Personal belief, though, as you're entitled to yours.
Thank you. Next person from the public, please. Hearing none, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public session is now closed. Stephanie, would you like to speak?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we had a proclamation for Women's History Month to honor and celebrate all women. And I think it's important to note that, after this year, one of the most difficult years for most of us, how important it is for women to lift each other up. And Ms. Coles kind of spoke about this before, and to be there for each other. I think going through this pandemic was difficult for many of the working moms, working parents, but moms that were trying to juggle jobs and take care of their children and figure things out. So, I think it's important to always remember that, to be there. It's okay to have our differences, just like we always do, but just to be there to support each other because, it's important. I just want to also thank the educators and the school staff and administrators for continuing to make sure our children are safe. We've been in school for about a month now, a little bit over a month, and things are going well. I think, finally everyone's going into a groove. The educators, the teachers, the students are finally kind of, getting used to the schedule and being in school and learning in person, which is important. And hopefully, soon we get into the next phase and have the students in 5 days a week because the kids, they have to be in school. Please remember to check the city website in regards to the vaccines being offered at the Civic Center. Just a reminder regarding the Johnson Public Library, they're in phase 3 now, which means the children's room and the reference area is open for 30-minute browsing. Restrooms are open and they have limited hours of operation. And staff are there to assist always by phone and email as well. And last but not least, registration for the city's baseball and soccer rec programs are opening soon, as well as the community garden. So please be sure to check those out and try to get everyone outside in the fresh air while practicing safe protocols and social distancing. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, Women's History Month. I'd like to just make sure that we honor my fellow councilwoman Stephanie Ron Rudenborg and our clerks, Debbie, Allison. Where would we be without you guys? And also all of the many wonderful women who work for the city. I mean, they are an integral part of the city functioning at the level it is. And it's a wonderful environment here in the city. And a lot of it is due to many women who you know, really put their nose to the grindstone and get the job done. So we really appreciate and we honor all of you in this Women's History Month. Just a couple of highlights on the agenda. I always like to try and go through that because I know people hear it and we go through some of the things quickly. And I like folks to understand what's going on in the city. There was a bond ordinance on tonight. A few of the highlights of that bond ordinance is another $1.1 million going towards roadway and paving improvements. You know, thank you, Leo Battaglia. I mean, Leo's out there every day figuring and helping and getting a lot of this road work done. Another $1.1 million there is going to some parks at Columbus and Stuyve Park. And again, thanks to Stephanie. You know, she's been an integral part of this and making sure that these parks get the attention they need. Appreciate that, Steph. And yes, you know, Mr. Smith, 140,000 going towards some of the Prospect Avenue crosswalks. And again, I got to thank Leo because he's the liaison to the condo board. And I thank you, Mr. Smith, you know, for bringing those points up and making us be very aware of things in the city that need, you know, as we always say, and we've said this many times before, we appreciate you folks coming because you know your neighborhoods, you know what you need, and we need to hear that. So we're always, you know, and I'm sorry, Ms. Coles, if you feel that one or all of us are being abrupt, but we're not. We want to hear those things and we want to address them as they need to be addressed. It's very important. It's important to all of us. A couple other things, there are a couple of redevelopment things that were on here tonight. One, 463 Main right now, if you want to picture it, Bruce the Bed King, all right? So across the street from Aldi's, most of us, certainly myself, but most of us remember Bruce the Bed King being there for many years. You know, business was not what it should be. And he's looking to put 62 residential units there in that. And this was just the introduction of his redevelopment plan. Another thing on the agenda tonight was the designation in the Finance Committee for 307 and 321 Main Street. Okay, so this is, think of the corner of Main and Berry. So this is where the Oritani Bank still stands, but it's actually no longer going to be the Oritani Bank. You know, again, there was a takeover or merger, whichever word makes the most sense there, with Valley Bank. So they are no longer going to be occupying there. So there's a whole stretch of properties there where they're going to be building 270, I believe, or in that around that ballpark units that are going to be going into those properties, reaching all the way back to State Street. Okay, an example of the financial agreements, and I know this was a question that came up tonight. I think maybe it was Pete. All right, so for example, with them, right now those properties pay $228,000 a year roughly in taxes. The projection for the first year of their pilot will be around $833,000 a year. So we're looking at a return on investment of approximately $600,000 a year coming from that project alone. Again, as the pilots, as we make progress, we've stepped up some of the pilots. This one in particular also has step-ups through the years so that the percentages will increase and the return on investment for the city will be greater. You know, again, with all of these, we're partners with these particular developments. Think of it that way. The more money they make, the more money we make, right? You know, we get a percentage of their gross revenue, not their net. So it's what they're taking in gross and we get a percentage of that. So we're hoping that they be successful. Yes, to Bridget, we are hopeful. And, you know, we've looked and we feel that our land is valuable here. It is commutable. It's a transit village. And it looks at this present time that people are seeing the value there too and are coming to the apartments. And let's hope that that continues. Thanks everyone for participating. Have a good night.
Thank you. Dave?
Good evening. I am happy to finally see the yellow flashing safety lights were installed on Prospect Avenue and Thompson Street near the hospital. I'm glad tonight we introduced the bond ordinance to pave some streets, improve some parks, and some safety improvement on Prospect Ave and Atlantic Street. I was overjoyed last week at the city's first COVID-19 vaccination distribution center at the Civic Center, where we distributed 200 vaccinations and will distribute the same amount this week. It was heartwarming to see some of our senior citizens being able to get the vaccination locally. March is Women's History Month. I'd like to salute all the women in the city of Hackensack. Please remember, as the weather starts to get nicer, to continue to mask up, frequently wash and sanitize your hands, and practice social distancing. Good night.
Thank you, Dave. Leo?
Congratulations again to all the ladies in the city. Thank you for all the good job that you always does. And I am happy because we got more money to continue with the paving program and improvements in the park. And thank you for everything. Have a good night.
Thank you. First, I want to thank all women. Women have come, I'm 66 years old and I've, lived to see women come so far. From when I was young to how it's changed through the years, it's incredible. And, as moms, as workers, as career people, they're just incredible, the strength they have. And kudos to you guys and all our female employees, women employees in the city. We want to wish you a happy Women's Month, especially our clerk, Deb, and Deputy Clerk Allison and their staff do a great job for us. We have female police officers do a great job. This year, I think we hired our first female firefighter, if I'm not mistaken, in Hackensack. That's great. Paving, you see doing a lot of paving going on, and we're stepping it up, and we will continue to do as much as we can. Liquor licenses came up tonight, and part of me agrees with it. It's tough to get liquor licenses. New Jersey has an antiquated liquor license law that was established in 1947 and only allows a certain amount to a city or a town. There's towns, small towns, half the size of Hackensack has more liquor licenses than we do because they're grandfathered. We're working feverishly with the Main Street Alliance, Assembly people and other things. We have been trying to push certain bills through because we know that in order to have successful restaurants downtown, we're going to need some more liquor licenses. So we are always working to get more liquor licenses, and I'm in full agreement that they're necessary. The blinking lights on Prospect were mentioned. It's a blessing to have it there. I see people, like matadors in the street in the past there with the way the cars come flying by them. And this will help with that significantly. Also, the vaccine site was mentioned. It was a great opening, and we're happy to be able to acquire the vaccine, and we're working very hard at acquiring more vaccine so we can step up the program and start doing more than 200 a week. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully that'll change in the near future. With that, I wish everybody a wonderful night, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
John, we forgot about the lady about the accident, Polyfly Road.
We had speaking of pedestrian safety, we had an unfortunate incident the other night on Polyfly Road. We're probably only about 50 yards from the traffic light, but somebody unfortunately was crossing the street there. I don't believe they were near the crosswalk, and was hit by one car. It was a hit and run vehicle that took off. And unfortunately, when the woman was thrown in the air, she was run over by another car and she died at the scene. Pray for that woman's family and pray for her. And it's an unfortunate incident. And I know we are looking at trying to make it a little safer in that stretch there. I think we've had 3 or 4 fatalities in that stretch of Polyfly Road from Lodi Street going down towards Essex Street. People seem, I see some excessive speeds there. I don't like the lighting there. And with the CVS across the street from what are quite a few apartments right there, people have a habit of jaywalking and crossing the street. So we're going to have to address that because we can't keep having these unfortunate accidents like that. So with that, I need a motion to close the meeting.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.